Hi, my name's Jason Fisch. I am licensed bonded contractor. Name of my company is Cal Turf and Stone. Cal Turf and Stone has been in business since 1996. I've actually been in the business for a little over 20 years, originally from Southern California. Came up in 95. Been contracting ever since. Got my license in 1996. I've been contracting ever since up here in Northern California. I reside in Hollister, is where I run my business out of. And I went to college, Cuyamaca College in San Diego, for principles of hydraulics to learn about irrigation and pressure and that kind of thing. That's where I also took all my learning about plants and grass and all that kind of stuff. Again, like I said, I've been in the industry since 1986, 87, worked for several different companies in Southern California as well as up here in Northern California before I decided to do it myself. Get my contractor's license. Okay, so this is the basic gist of what we're going to be doing. It's got a little bit of everything. This right here would be the wall coming from the house. So this is actually the way to look at it. We're going to be doing a little bit of everything here. It's unfortunate that you didn't get to see it before we started. We had weeds about 3 feet tall all the way across the back. In fact, that whole back half of the patio, they didn't even know they had until we ripped it out. So it's basically, we like to get it to the point where it's an empty canvas. Then we can start drawing out lines and you get a lot better ideas. A lot of the times we'll start with a plan and have it all drawn out, and then once we get everything ripped out, 9 out of 10 times people will change it. The analogy I like to use is it's kind of like trying to think of a song while another one's playing on the radio. You can't really do it, your mind doesn't want to. So once you get it to this nice clean spot, well, I wouldn't necessarily say clean, but to a point where you can draw, paint lines and get an idea of exactly what it is you want, makes it a little bit easier. So what we're going to be doing, the first thing we're going to be doing, we have this, obviously you can see with the door right here, we have a little bit of difficulty. The main problem obviously we're going to have is how do you get from up there to down there. Depending on, there's a lot of factors that come into play when you're trying to figure something like this out. Cost is a factor, obviously height is a factor. We have an access door right there. So the fact that the access door is right there, we can't really do any kind of concrete steps or brick steps or anything that would be solid. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and put a deck in. And the deck approximately is going to be 6 feet by 8 feet. So we're going to come out from right here, 6 feet, and then there'll be a railing. So the deck will be right around this level right here somewhere. It's going to come 6 feet out, and then be 8 foot long. And then it's going to 45 with steps coming down. So we can do that in lumber, and you could do that with pressure treated wood or redwood, or now they have the composite decking material, which is actually kind of nice. A little bit more expensive, but never burns. You don't have to treat it. Don't have a problem with termites, anything like that. So that takes care of our problem about how we get from there to down here. The next major project I would say would probably be the retaining walls that we're going to do. We have a bit of an elevation difference here. We have a couple choices to do what we can do with something like that. You can either have it do a natural grade slope down, and as long as you plant, some ground cover or some plants or whatnot, that'll take care of any kind of erosion problems. What they want to do here is actually gain more space of the backyard. So we're going to cut it back a little bit, and we're going to build legacy retaining wall. It's a mortarless retaining block system. So basically, it's the footing itself consists of base rock and washed concrete sand, and then we set the blocks directly on that, and then they lock, and they're stacking blocks. So it's actually the weight of the soil behind the wall which holds the wall up. So you can't use these kind of walls for like a courtyard wall because there's nothing supporting it or holding it up except the soil that would be behind it. But far less expensive than your traditional slump stone or cinder block wall that you have to do a concrete footing for, and then you do the rebar and then solid fill it with concrete. So it's a much more cost-effective look, and the project itself it works out a little bit easier. And you don't have to face it, you don't have to cap it, so you don't have to put stucco on it or ledge stone or anything like that. And it serves the purpose well. They work as great seating walls as well, depending on how high you go. So that would be the second major project. The third project would be the patio that we're going to do. Now they want to change the shape of the patio a little bit, so we're going to redesign it. It's actually going to only come about 3/4 of the distance that it did before. Those cement pads are going to come up, and that's going to be sod filled in behind it, and then we're going to go with interlocking paving stones for the actual patio itself. And some interlocking paving stones, that'll be the project that we'll go into more detail about that when we're actually doing that project. Next project would be the irrigation system. This is what we're starting with right here. We have these Richdale, your typical homeowner kind of sprinkler valve. Got a shelf life of about 5 years. Very inexpensive, and you know, you get what you pay for. So these are coming out. We're going to be going with 4 anti-siphon valves. Cut this pipe, cut that from there. We'll have a hose bib right there, and then we'll rerun it. I don't know if they want to keep them, the sprinkler valves right here. We have the option to maybe move them around over to the side. But we'll be replacing these valves and replacing all the lines. The lawn heads will all be on their own independent lines. The planters will be on their independent lines. And my understanding is that we're going to be doing drip irrigation for all the raised planter areas and all the areas that are not grass, and pop-up heads for 4-inch pop-up heads for all the areas that are lawn. And a pop-up head is just, it's a typical head where just the nozzle itself pops up 4 inches, so you can mow over them. You don't have to worry about knocking them off. And you know, all the internal pieces of everything is now made of plastic, so you don't have any rusting or seizing or anything like that. So the third, and then after we get the irrigation all in, everything that's going to not be hardscape, that's in between the walls, is all going to be fescue sod, dwarf fescue sod, which is pretty much, fescue sod is just, it's a cool season grass that's drought resistant, heat tolerant, stress tolerant, shade tolerant. I'd say pretty much any new sod that's been put in within the last 20 years is probably going to be a fescue sod of some sort. After that, then we have a couple, also one thing I forgot is we have a couple downspouts, which are, the downspout is when you have your rain gutter that comes down, and then it comes to this area right here, where you have this is kind of cut 45, whether it comes down and out. So generally what we'll do is we'll cut this right here, and they make an adapter, which is a 2-inch by 3-inch adapter on the top, which fits around this snug, and then it goes to a 3-inch round. So the drain line will go straight down in. We'll cut the pavers around that if the walkway comes right here. It goes straight down into the ground, and then we can run it anywhere we need to get it, as far as whether or not they want to go out to the street, core through the sidewalk, or just get it to where some vegetation is, so where it can handle the water. Obviously, this monster right here is coming out. It's a yucca. So for those of you who are not familiar with yucca, this is the remains of a yucca tree. Not fun, but all par for the course, has to come out. So, and you can kind of see with the way these red lines, eventually this is where the wall will come. It'll come from this post, straight through where that stump is, go around there, 2 courses high, then tie into that back wall that's going to be 3 courses high, and it's going to be a nice soft contour all the way along the back. And again, the sod's going to go right up to the wall in the front. So no need for any kind of a mow strip or anything. Right here where I'm standing will all be sod. And I think that pretty much covers the whole project. You know, it's easy to talk about, but we'll see how long it takes for it. No, just kidding. A job like this, average job like this, I would say start to finish, maximum of 2 weeks. If everything goes smooth and works out, materials are here and everything's available, probably knock it out in 7 to 10 days. Average job like this one here, to do everything, worked out to a little over $25,000. That's everything, labor, materials, deliveries, fuel surcharges, all that's included in pricing. But that's pretty much the gist of it. I really enjoy doing this. It's great to see, you know, what you can take, and you know, it's nothing that anybody ever plans to happen. It's just kind of like a snowballing effect. You know, you let it go a little bit, the grass gets a little bit too long, the weeds get a little bit out of control, and then it gets to where it doesn't look manageable. And that's where we like to come in and completely, you know, rip everything out and then start with a new plan and, you know, change things up. But it's pretty gratifying to be able to come in and look at a job like this and then just know in a couple weeks it's going to be completely transformed into, you know, a beautiful garden spot. And, you know, there's things you have to take into consideration when you're considering your garden. You have to think about entertaining. You have to think about, you know, water issues. How are we doing water-wise? Is there a shortage of water? Do we have a drought going? Do we have to use less watering? You know, and you can always, depending on the plants you choose and the hard and soft scapes that you choose, there's a lot of factors you got to take into consideration. So, you know, we like to come in and all our jobs start with a personal in-home estimate where we measure everything out, go over the ideas, go over everything. You know, that's 100% free to the customer for us to come out and take a look at that. Again, make sure that you know what you want, get what you want, because